How's everybody doing? So, got a rapid game here on chess.com against Den Hispo, 1690. My current rating is 1707. We have a Vienna with a knight c6 variation. We'll see what we get. So they go with the most common response. Knight f6, d3. Trying to remember here, this is kind of a weird variation. I think I still want to play f4 here. Uncommon variation. f4. I'm pretty sure this is right. Let's go for it. Okay. All right. What is best here? I think like knight f6 or queen. Or sorry, not knight f6, but knight f3. Maybe queen e2 even. I think knight f3 though. Knight f3. Queen f3? No. Yeah, that's an uncommon line. I sort of forget. Definitely out of theory here. Knight f3. What do they want to do there? Probably knight g4. Knight f3, knight g4, bishop g3. Yeah, let's go with that. Okay, so then here I think it might be smart to play h3, just stopping anything from coming to this square. Although, I do seem to remember knight a4. I think part of what I might have been forgetting was this knight a4 idea. Just trying to neutralize this bishop. Because if knight a4, bishop, that doesn't bother me. The thing that would bother me the most is this knight g4, but it's still bishop g3. And that seems to be holding together. So let's go after this knight. Or, sorry, let's take our knight and go after the bishop. Yeah, because this bishop is problematic on this diagonal. And there's no pawn here on f2. As happens in the Vienna. So pretty even position, I would say, at this point. I think the lines basically always take on b6 as opposed to waiting. Yeah, I guess waiting, they do get this option. So yeah, let's go ahead and take. Ace takes. Okay, so I guess castling is most to the point here. Also, a3, just giving my bishop some room if they try the same trick against me. If they go bishop g4 here, I can just play h3. I don't feel any particular concern about that. Yeah, I think I like a3. Let's do that. It also just kind of solidifies the structure a bit against this open rook. Castling seems most normal here. So I do have the bishop pair and a slightly better pawn structure. If I have any claim to an advantage in this position, that would be sort of where it would come from. Castling is definitely an idea. Maybe queen d2, but probably no reason to delay castling. Yeah, let's go castles. If this knight comes over, I can always just back my bishop off this way. Okay, here I can always just move my queen over because there's no threat of structural damage. You can also ask them if they're wanting to take as well, putting the question to them. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so here, I could go here, I could go here. Queen d2, would I have any interesting threats on h6? If I took twice on h6, I don't think so. Okay, so the idea might be to come here and threaten to take this. Okay. So I'll just back my rook off. Play this next. Whoops. Huh. Okay, so do I care about this knight coming in here? Maybe not. I don't think so. But like this, take and oops. Battery issue. Give me just a second. Had to plug in my computer there. Sorry about that. Battery issue. Yeah, I think the most straightforward move here is probably bishop e3. Just giving my bishop scope as opposed to going to h2. Let's do this. Yeah, this move, I'm not believing it. Okay, so I could go here, and if I go here, I have this. Could also go here, threaten to take here and take. But they could defend, and I don't really think that's working. If I take here, sorry, if I take this immediately and they take and I pin, maybe that is working. Takes, pins. So I've won a pawn and a knight for a rook. I'm going to get the rook back. So I ended up getting a pawn, a knight, and a rook for a bishop and a rook. I think that just wins a pawn, doesn't it? So takes. And I'm going to take the rook next. Pawn, bishop, and rook. Sorry, pawn, knight, and rook for rook and bishop. Alright, what is wrong with this? What am I getting wrong? So I have taking on f8 if any weird stuff comes up next with check. Shouldn't seem to fizzle anything out if I'm missing anything. Take. I mean, king can take. That's what I'm getting wrong. Yeah, king can take. Yeah. King takes here. And just get out of the way. And yeah, that's what messes it up. Okay. Yeah, let's just do this. Just gain a tempo, bring the rook over. Don't we just, okay. Bring the rook over. Now I have the threat of taking this and then winning my piece back that way. And I believe they missed it. So takes, just wins a pawn. Right? Well, my last calculation didn't really work initially, so I have to make sure this is right. Takes. Can they do something else? I mean, takes. Can't really come attack here. I'll just take it, or I could take this way. Takes. What else can they do? And they can attack my bishop. I'll just back it off. Can also just capture and then back it off. Yeah, let's go for this. This is a tactic that I personally have had issues both seeing and falling for. Is this case of an overloaded pawn? Um, I don't know if it's a common tactic to just sort of be blind to, um, but I feel like it comes up more often than you might think. Just like overloaded pawns that are doing too much. So it's something to be on the lookout for in your games, I would say, for sure. Both, are you vulnerable to this tactic, and do you have these opportunities? You know, is your opponent giving you these opportunities? Okay, so here I was thinking taking this, but if I take this, that just bails them out. But, I mean, it doesn't bail them out. Like, if they take, I mean, I just take them. I'm still up a pawn. Because I've won my pawn. The question is, do they want to trade pieces? Nothing says we have to trade pieces. Yeah, I think this just gives them doubled pawns over here. Doubled isolated pawns. Because either they take back with the pawn, in which case they have double isolated pawns, or they take back with the knight, in which case I take them. But I guess they could take with the queen at that point. Okay. Still. Yeah, my intuition is... Can take it. Does taking the knight do anything? Pawn takes. Bishop takes. This is just hanging over here. I'm not a huge fan of that. So rook takes, pawn takes, bishop takes. Also, rook takes, pawn takes, check. This knight is covering the square. Does this work? Rook takes, pawn takes. Check. They're gonna attack me here. Yeah, I don't think that works for that reason. Okay, let's just go ahead and trade here. I spent a lot of time on that move. Okay. So I think maybe just backing my bishop off might be good. Okay, yeah, let's do this. I do have this, and I think I have to play here to protect. Okay. All right. This might be a decent post for my bishop. Stopping the knight from coming in here. Stopping queen checks in case I want to move my rook. Also eyeing this. Okay, let's go for this. Okay, now I could go in here and note that this is met by checkmate. Which seems pretty decent. Let's go for it. I also went here with my queen and been threatening to take this because they can't take because of mates. Wow, that's a drunken arrow because of mates. But this also sort of eyes this up. This just loses a pawn, doesn't it? Let's gain a tempo on their queen. Takes here. They are threatening here. Let's go after this. Okay, I think this just gets skewered, doesn't it? So I'm taking a queen. Let's go for that. So I take them, they take me, I take a exchange. Could also take with check. So do I like the exchange? Or do I like a pawn? I think I like the exchange and their weird pawns. Also, this pawn is dropping. This pawn is dropping. I think I'll take this one first, though. Just to make sure we don't run into any issues. Back over here. I think I'll take... I don't see anything wrong with taking this pawn. Okay. And then we have this idea next. Yeah, and this is pretty close to resignable for black at this point. Okay. Alright, so if I go here, they're going to go here. And they take a pawn, and then they take this. So maybe I want to do this, and they go here, but then they're threatening this. Oh yeah, yay. Yeah, maybe we could just trade pawns. Just keep it simple. Okay, so this move threatens mate and threatens to take their knight. So that looks pretty good. How do they get out of that? So if I go here, I'm both threatening to checkmate them? Well, not checkmate, I guess. I guess they can bring their knight back to f8. Yeah, let's just go for this. Just I assume my time is getting kind of low. So I believe, just do this. They bring their knight back. Okay, so this is pretty funny. I believe I'm just going to trade off all of the pieces and just say, hey, I'm up 3 pawns. What are you going to do about that? Yeah. There's no need for complication. Like, I don't even need my king to win this game. What is the best way to... Well, I'm still going to bring my king up. Best way is probably just to take both of these pawns. Yeah. Yeah, opponent resigns. Okay, so yeah, let's see what we had in the analysis. I'm going to go ahead and pause this really quick and bring up the analysis. Okay, so back here on the analysis. So first thing I would note about this game, let's go all the way to the end really quick, so we can see the final position. So I had 5 minutes and 21 seconds out of my 30 minutes left on my clock. My opponent had 23 minutes and 56 seconds. Like, I mean, I'm having to use more time because I can't be thinking on their time. So, you know, if my opponent uses some of their time, I'm probably not using as much of my time. But there really isn't an excuse to lose, I would say, with this much time on your clock. You need to be using more time than this. So yeah, first thing, if you find yourself doing this, losing games, and you have all kinds of time left, I would highly suggest slowing down. Second thing I would note is White had the advantage basically the whole game. There's one point right here, which is the mistake, which is probably my biggest error. I started to feel like I was in a little bit of time pressure. Let's see. It was at this point. I started to feel like I was in a little time pressure. So again, my opponent had 26 minutes left. I had 11. And we still had queens on the board. And in that case, you know, that kind of situation, if you make an error, it can be a kind of a big error. And I made what looked to be a normal sort of looking move here. Excuse me, but it turns out I could have done quite a bit better. But yeah, we'll check that out. Anyway, let's go back to the beginning and sort of look at the opening here. So we get Vienna. This move, I am not certain I even have a response in my repertoire to. Let me see. I mean, I'm aware of this move like later on, but not precisely here. Let's see, E4. I'm just checking my notes on stuff. Give me just a second. I guess I do have something. But yeah, they pretty quickly deviated from theory here. Let's see. So yeah, this was all sort of in line. Okay, so this is where I sort of messed up here. I should normally what I go for here is this move E5. Yeah, and just hit their knight. Yeah. So knight G2 or to F3 was fine. Everything up to this point was sort of what I was going for, but I kind of lost the thread in my theoretical notes to the line at about this point. I only try to memorize lines oftentimes, just as an FYI, up to somewhere between 7 and 10 moves. I don't really try to go for 15 move lines unless it's like a really extreme tactical sequence, because they don't occur and it's not really worth it. They don't occur to that depth, especially at the club level, where people most of the time don't know what they're doing after move 5, meaning they're out of book. So yeah, knight f3 was fine. It's the top recommended line, I guess. Well, it's a recommended line, but yeah, this is the move. Anyway, I'm curious. Okay, so no games in the database here. That's interesting. It's a different database on Lichess. They have the database for all of the games of the players on the site, but they don't have that on chess.com. I don't know why. I guess it would be a huge database because they have so much. Okay, so let's just sort of go through this. A lot of normal moves here. Not a whole lot of commentary. Okay, so I could have castled there. Before. Okay, so interesting point here. It says g4, which I guess makes sense. The bishop kind of looks silly. That's not an intuitive move because I have to move these. I've got all this air in front of my king now, but I've got all these pieces I can also bring around my king, and they're going to have a hard time getting at me. What I would say is, I guess it's just interesting to note that this is playable, even though it's not intuitive. But I don't know if I would get in the habit of going for lines like this unless you were pretty sure. Like the thing about this line is this bishop is just really shut down, and white doesn't, or black doesn't have a whole lot around white's king, so maybe that sort of justifies it. Okay, so let's see if we get anything more interesting coming up here. So I think, okay, so this was interesting alternative. So I had a couple of inaccuracies. I had 5 inaccuracies and 1 mistake in the game. The 1 mistake was over here, and we'll get to that in a bit. But 5 inaccuracies, I'm fine with, especially in a rapid game, and no blunders, importantly. But yeah, okay, so we could have done this, and what is the idea? So probably they go back. Most humans, I think, are going to go back. Queen g3, and yeah, you just get a lot of activity, I guess. The whole point is just gaining a tempo. But also my move gained a tempo, but I guess the claim is that this does it more effectively? I don't know. What if g6? What happens there? You can go rook takes h5 here. Wow. G takes h5. And the idea is this queen is, or this king is just too exposed. Wow, that's super interesting. This is an interesting position. So you can sack the exchange here to open the king. Very interesting. Rook a5 to try to defend. Bishop takes h6, you're getting another pawn. So you get a pawn and a piece for the rook at this point, and you have a pretty serious attack. You can take out this defender of g7. Yeah, that looks pretty nifty. It's not something I would have thought of, but an instructive line. Wow, very interesting. Okay, so anyway, I played this move, queen e2 instead of rook f2, and they went back. Evidently, this was a mistake. Yeah, I was expecting the queen to come in. I wasn't really sure how I was going to respond to this. Queen, yeah, so queen f3. I think this is what I was sort of thinking. Nah, it's tough. Anyway, so they went back, mistake. Rook a to f1, is that what I did? Yeah, okay. c6, also a mistake. Bishop takes h6, that's what I played. Rook takes f6 first. G takes? Computer says rook takes f6 is better. G takes. Queen g4 check. Knight g5. Knight g5, h4. That's the best you have. Okay. Not h4. Now it says not h4. But h4 is fine. Yeah, okay, interesting line. So rook takes is slightly better. Yeah, I've noticed this pattern that just this sack against the opposing knight seems to be an idea, especially if you're opening the king like this. You can also take this pawn too. Yeah, really interesting position. There were a lot of attacking ideas there. Okay, so d5. Okay, so it just says to go back. Okay. And then just sort of go on with the position. Slight inaccuracy, but it's fine. Okay, so coming all the way back was best. Alright, so should have retreated here again. But again, this is the difference between +3 and +5. That's tough to get too down on yourself about that. Okay, this normal move. Gain the tempo. Okay, and this is the big mistake, I think, of the game. And they should have played b4 here, which is what they did. What should I have done instead? So queen e4. Queen e4. What's the idea with queen e4? Just centralizing the queen, maybe? So they gain a tempo. b4. Wow. Rook takes? Most humans are doing that. Rook h5. Threatening mates. f5. Shutting that down. Queen h4. Going back at it. Oh man. You're just sacking the bishop here. Yeah, rook takes c3. What's up with this? Rook h8. King f7. Takes f5 check. Wow, these computers are just gnarly, man. Just sacked a piece for this. And it says white is +6. I can get a feel for it intuitively, but man, it's hard to go in for that over the board. Okay, so we get this move b4, rook d5, queen c7. Okay, so playing good again here. And for the rest of the game, it looks like everything was pretty straightforward. So I could have just gotten out of the way here. Okay, yeah, there's a lot of different ways to play that. Yeah, everything's sort of fine here. There's not a lot. Okay, so it does say to go like this. Because I was trying not to be too passive. But then this. So rook g5 check. King f8. Rook d5. Rook d5. Humans are taking. Rook d7. Okay, maybe the idea was to, well, no. Maybe not. King g7. Okay, so then you just get your rooks in. Yeah, I mean, this was going to probably happen eventually, you know, getting both rooks on the 7th rank. So, again, a lot of different ways to sort of go at this. Rook d2 takes b7, trades, and then we get this. Yeah, and then it probably doesn't like how I went for this idea. Oh, it does. It does. Okay. It actually says that was the best move. Okay. It just simplified things for me, and that's what I liked, especially with this time issue. Like there's 3 pawns. Obviously, black has no chance there. Okay, so interesting game. I think the biggest takeaway in this game is slow down. Like, wow, 23 minutes left. I've got 5 minutes. Like, you can't lose a game and have used so little time. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments, and we'll see you next time. Thanks a lot. Bye.